So, the final part in my top 15 favorite movies of all time, which is basically just my top 20 favorite movies of all time. Anyway, I don't want to do them anymore, so check out my Twitter, check out previous reviews, and let me get into this. So, number 20, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. This is definitely not the most ambitious Star Wars movie, but is probably one of the most fun. It does a great job introducing some of the old characters and then introducing new ones. It has amazing special effects. I love the lightsaber fight at the end, and all their new characters had so much potential set up for them here. I love the introduction to Rey. This was definitely the best movie for Finn. Poe was really fun in this film. I love the dynamic between Finn and Poe. They did a lot. I think the best part of this film are some of the character dynamics, a lot of the action scenes. I love the escape from Jakku and the fight at Takodana, the Starfighter battle. John Williams, of course, does an amazing job with the score of this movie. And, of course, the best thing this does is it sets up a new Star Wars trilogy, brings Star Wars back to its height after the prequels, and just introduces it to a new audience. And it's a fun ride the entire time. My only complaint, doesn't do a great job with the world building and setting up the New Republic and how the First Order came to be. It doesn't do a great job with that. And a little bit of that does get explained in later movies, but it didn't do a great job with an explanation here. But overall, I still love this movie. I mean, it's in my top 20. It's a lot of fun. Number 19, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Marvel's biggest risk, and it definitely paid off. They took these amazingly obscure comic characters, and I had only heard of one or two of them before they brought them to the big screen, and they managed to make a super fun, lighthearted, but still dramatic movie. It's very vibrant with the color scheme. It has great characters, of course, with great lead roles with Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, and then great voice acting roles for Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel. Ronan's not the best villain, but he works for the context of the film. But this is really just a fun and sweet movie that I'm always going to enjoy watching. And it's one of my favorite Marvel films. At number 18, I kind of cheated here. And this is just the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spidey film. So Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. Because they are both very similar, and I really wanted to make the list a little more diverse. So they're right here. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spidey films are just a blast to watch. Tom Holland is amazing in the lead role. I love all the high school stuff with Ned and MJ and everyone. I love the first one because I love it as kind of Spider-Man becoming his own hero. Same thing with the second one. It's a little arc he goes through. I love his relationship with Iron Man. Some people call Spider-Man Iron Boy, but I don't think they realize that the point of these movies is to make Spider-Man his own hero and not kind of an Iron Man sidekick. I love the first one. I love the Vulture and Mysterio. They're both great. I love the second one, how it's like a kind of road trip film, a vacation film. They both feel a lot like John Hughes superhero movies with my favorite superhero. And, of course, I love them a lot. Speaking of favorite superheroes, number 17, The Dark Knight. This is my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I've only seen, two of them. But The Dark Knight is an awesome superhero movie with an amazing performance by Christian Bale. Of course, probably what might be the best performance I've ever seen in any movie, Heath Ledger as the Joker. I love their dynamic. I love the action scenes. It feels like a Batman movie as well as like a kind of sometimes thriller action film. And it's fun to watch. There's a lot of tension. I love all the side roles. It's constantly quotable. In nearly every scene there's a line that you hear people quote almost daily whenever you're talking about this sort of thing. And this is just a piece of superhero movies that is kind of cemented that they can be dark, they can be serious, they can be Oscar-worthy. And it is just a great movie to watch. At number 16, I'm really going on a superhero trend here. Joker. This really strays from its comic book origins, but it makes an amazingly dark film. I don't really care much for the messages and stuff. I mean, it definitely has them, but what I really took out of this film was a film about a man slowly going insane, but as he goes more insane, he becomes happier and becomes more of who he is. And we're happy that he's achieving his goals. We see him becoming happy, and that makes us kind of enjoy what's going on. But we're kind of freaked out, because what we're enjoying him becoming happier, he's also now murdering people, so it's kind of weird. I mean, anyway, amazing performance by Joaquin Phoenix. Great score by, I don't want to try and pronounce your name, but great score, good direction by Todd Phillips, and this wonderfully dark and unique superhero film, comic book movie, with a great performance by Joaquin Phoenix, great ties to the Batman universe, and it's just something that I'm going to always enjoy watching. Number 15, finally diversifying a bit, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This is a Lord of the Rings film that really bumps up the action and the adventure, because we got one group where we got Frodo, Sam, and Gollum trying to move through the Dead Marshes to Mordor and the mountains and stuff. We got another group where we have Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf, all trying to help Rohan defend themselves against the orcs, as well as a third plot with Merry and Pippin and the Ents trying to take down Isengard. And all of these stories would be great as their own movie, but they're all together in this one film where we got one that brings the action, one that brings the adventure, one that brings the humor. And overall, they just all tie really well. You never spend too much time away from a certain character. It has great action, great effects, amazing music, and it's just exactly what you expect from a Lord of the Rings film that I'm always going to enjoy. At number 14, one of my favorite animated films ever, Inside Out. This is a really interesting concept that you don't really think would work for a kid's movie, as it explores, it's exploring the emotions inside your head and how you feel affected by certain things around the world. That doesn't really feel like a kid's movie, but it is, but it's also for adults. Like most Pixar movies, they're for everyone. It managed to make a movie that's entertaining for kids, but also has deep, relevant themes for adults. A great all-star voice cast, even though you don't really think, oh, I know that's Amy Poehler, that's Bill Hader. You don't really think that, but they really disappear into the roles with their characters. I just love this movie because it's so sweet and emotional, it has great music, and it really dives deep into kind of the human mind while still being entertaining and fun. At number 13, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is my favorite Harry Potter film because, of course, the amazing John Williams music, the amazing directing by Alfonso Cuarón, and even though it does leave out some stuff from the book that I really love, it is just a great piece of filmmaking. I love I love how it makes a lot of the Hogwarts students seem more like real students, real people, real teenagers, because you can see that they all kind of chose different ways to wear their uniforms that reflects their characters. Like Ron isn't wearing Hermione's in her normal outfit, how she's supposed to be dressed. Kind of Ron and some of the Slytherins aren't even wearing their robes. Harry Potter kind of has tie on tie. Kind of little details like that really kind of show their characters, how they understand what they're like. I love the introduction of Sirius Black and Lupin and Peter Pettigrew. And, of course, it has a lot of great sequences, like the thing with Buckbeak and the time travel at the end. This is probably one of the best instances of time travel in any movie, although I will get back to that later, time travel. But this is my favorite Harry Potter film. It really captures the magic as well as being a great piece of filmmaking with amazing direction. So this is one of my favorite movies. At number 12, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. The best thing that Disney has done with Star Wars is just a great movie. I love how it tries to do new, bold things, and then it also tries to be a fun Star Wars movie, and it blends those really well. It does have some issues with the Rose and Finn plot, but I can generally push that aside because the highs are so great that some of the lows I can't even really notice them. I love the dynamic between Kylo and Luke and Rey, and kind of their whole thing about Kylo revealing how Luke kind of helped him turn to the dark side. I love what they did with Luke, how he starts off grumpy, but he slowly becomes more accepting as himself as a symbol of hope in the galaxy. I think Rey and Kylo Ren have a great dynamic here. I love all the plot twists from the death of Snoke to the whole thing with Luke, how he was kind of grumpy. I love everything new they did. It has great special effects, a great final battle, and it's just a fun and interesting Star Wars movie that I think did a great job at bringing back Luke Skywalker. Number 11, The Breakfast Club. My favorite teen movie is The Breakfast Club. It has great performance by the whole cast, great direction by John Hughes, and I love it because it can be fun, but at the same time still be kind of dramatic, really diving into the lives of these teenagers in detention. I love all the characters and how diverse they are, but how even the people who you think wouldn't be friends, how they could bond, and by the end you can see the relationship that had grown between them. And it's just a fun movie to watch, and I will always enjoy it. Number 10, Back to the Future. This is probably one of the most fun movies on this list. We got great performances by Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. And it has just a really interesting concept of a teenage boy travels back in time to when his parents were in high school, and he accidentally stops the event that gets them to meet and fall in love. And he has to get them to fall in love while also figuring out how to get back to the present. Which already, like, that's a fun thing to hear. That's a fun movie idea, and they do it so well with all these little, like, tie-ins from how things he did in the past affects the future, or how they'll say something happen in the future and how you'll see that happen in the past. It's really fun. It has great music by Alan Silvestri. It always keeps some of the adventure up, and it's got good adventure, good romance. All the actors do a great job. Crispin Glover and Leah Thompson do a great job. It is an amazing job with makeup, kind of showing the younger and older versions of Marty's parents. But overall, it is just a fun movie that I think anyone can enjoy. Number 9, Avengers Infinity War. This is one of the most ambitious crossovers of all time, and I love it about as much as I do with Endgame quality-wise. I love how it kind of inserts all the characters. None of them really feel forced in. They all have a reason to be there. It's not just like, oh, they're there because they're there. It's like, they're there because this, and this. It feels necessary that they're part of the plot. It does a great job introducing Thanos as the big bad of the MCU, one of my favorite comic book movie villains. Keeps the action up and has great color shading depending on where you are. Good direction by the Russos. And overall, this is just a fun movie to see all of their favorite superheroes and characters from these Marvel movies interact and crack jokes and argue. And it's just a fun movie to watch, and it's a great kind of event in the MCU. Number 8, 1917. When I first heard about this movie, I didn't really care about it whatsoever. But then I went to see it, and it really was amazing. It does a great job capturing the tension and kind of rushing of war. I love the whole one-shot take thing that it does. My favorite movie of the one movie I've seen of 2020 so far. But overall, this is just a great portrayal of war. You really do feel sad at some times. You really feel the tension. There are just some amazingly shot moments where I'm just thinking, wow, I love this movie. Especially some scenes at the end. It has a lot of great celebrity cameos, a lot of great action. It manages to always keep up the tension. And it is just, it's even sometimes kind of fun to watch. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a good movie. Okay, next up, number 7, The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. This is the pinnacle of Lord of the Rings, where all these plot lines from the two towers kind of converge together, when you got these awesome final battles and emotional moments. And at the end, it is all so satisfying and emotional as you see the characters who we've been seeing going on this journey for a couple movies now for the past, if you watch them in a marathon, like 11 hours. And seeing their stories end as they kind of go their separate ways, as they do what they've set out to do. It really is sweet and emotional, and I think it's a great ending to one of the greatest movie franchises of all time. Anyway, so next up, number 6, my ultimate cheat on this list. All the Toy Story franchise. Just all 4 Toy Story movies at number 6. I love them all equally, and I'm not really going to diversify, but I love the voice cast. I love how each movie has a good, relevant theme, but they're all still fun. I love the whole thing in the first one with Woody accepting that he doesn't always have to be the favorite toy, that he can share playtime with Andy. I love in the second one that he kind of learns a lesson of life really not worth living if he's not being loved, and how life's better when you're living with a child in a display case. Number 3, I just love the ending, and I love Andy kind of giving up the toys, that whole great scene. And number 4, I don't really want to spoil it because I don't think there's a lot of people who have seen that yet, who I know will be watching this, but all the movies are emotional, all the movies are fun, and they've put such a big impact on my childhood and my life growing up that I had to put them all here. So anyway, I love Toy Story. Number 5, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. This is a great movie. It makes Star Wars darker. It introduces more of the love relationship between Han and Leia. You have that great twist in the end with Luke and Vader. It introduces people like Yoda, Lando, Boba Fett, some iconic Star Wars characters. It has some of the best music in Star Wars with the Imperial March, Yoda's theme, Bespin's theme, the asteroid field, and so many of the things that are iconic about Star Wars didn't originate in the original film. It came around in this, and you got the Battle of Hoth, and it just takes everything great about the original Star Wars, and it kicks it up to an 11 with the action, the effects, and the only reason that it is lower than that is because, of course, it is a sequel. Even though I can think sequels would be better than the original. I'll explain more later. But yeah, I love Empire Strikes Back so much. And it may have been higher. I just think my last viewing experience of it wasn't that great. But I still absolutely love Empire. It is one of my favorite movies. Number 4, a little controversial. Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. This movie, well, I think it has a worse start than Empire. The ending is so much more satisfying. I love the whole thing with Luke and Vader's redemption. It does a great job introducing the Emperor. I love the Ewoks. I'm gonna say that right now. Love Ewoks. And it's a great final fight because you got the ground fight, the space fight, the lightsaber duel. I love Anakin's redemption. I love that final scene with everyone celebrating across the galaxy.